Yo, 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 yo. What's up, y'all? Fade Green here. And now that season one has started, I figured I'd give us a little bit of a rundown on the perks and how the perks work here. Just because I know there's still a little bit of confusion on some of them. I've had some of my friends confused by some of the perks, some people I've played with asking some questions. And if anything, why not give a little rundown and know what works best with more of the characters in the game either way. I'll try to give a little bit of input on most of the perks here as well too. Some perks are pretty straightforward, so they don't need as much input, but some are a little more creative and have a little bit more nuance to them. So, we can go over them a little bit more and give a little bit of ideas so you guys can have something to hop back into your match with, and show them what's good. All right, so let me show y'all what I'll be doing. I actually just swapped a bunch of stuff out, just messing around right here for a second, but it's actually my normal setup. Let me change that out like that. That's what I normally got, and those normally swap spots. But either way, let's get started here. All right, you know what? Where's my music in this bit, bruh? Let's get it. Hey, so first perk here, we got shirt cannon sniper. Your team's projectiles deal 7% increased damage to far away victims. This one here is pretty straightforward, but I don't think enough people are actually getting this. They're not seeing that 7% is as much damage as you think. It's way higher than you think, especially when you have double projectile characters. If you're playing Velma, Raindog, Bugs, Tom and Jerry, LeBron, make sure you guys are getting this here because you're going to be dealing way more damage just off rip. Most of those characters, half their moves are projectiles, if not more of their moves are projectiles, so you're going to want to get that. And 15% is a lot, so make sure you stack that. I actually swapped this out with snowball effect here, depending on if I'm playing singles or doubles, but we'll get back to that in just a bit. Deadshot. Your team deals 5% increased damage with projectiles. Again, as you can see, I have this on as well too. I main Tom and Jerry, so this is a big plus for me. It's way more damage again than you think, and when you're confident in your character and how you're playing, and or the way you need to play just happens to wrap around dealing damage with projectiles in general, then you're going to want to grab this here. You're going to want to make sure that you have it. And again, stacking it when you're playing a double projectile team comp makes sense, but you don't necessarily need to have this perk, I would say, stacked. The extra 5% can be better used elsewhere, and only one person having this perk is good enough when you only have one character with projectiles on your team. Now, Lumpy Space Punch. This one here is another one that I think people are underestimating, but maybe they're getting more wind of now. There's a few others that might be better in its place, but paired up with them, really good. We'll get to that later down the line. But this move is really good with your assassins, your people that are going to be dealing damage in the air as well too. You got your Bugs, your Batmans, you got your Finns, really good with this and his backpack spin move. Even after the nerf, this move goes a really long way. Make sure that you guys are thinking about picking this up if you're one of those aggressive air types. Now you got collateral damage. I don't think this move is as strong as it is. This perk is okay, but I will say as they add more maps, and depending on the map that you're playing on, that's when you're going to want to make your decision. If you're playing on the Haunted Mansion, then yes, collateral damage might be amazing for you, especially if you're playing someone like Harley Quinn again, or Bugs, or Finn, or someone like that has a lot of wall bounce potential that can just put you in combos and put the enemy team in combos. Then yeah, you're going to want to get this, because if you can hit them about 5 to 6 times off the wall really quickly, then that extra 6 damage can go a long way. But again, I don't think it's that good of a perk. I think there's other perks that are better off in its place, so I don't really fully recommend this. Plus, most people don't really like the walls in general, so I wouldn't say get this, but it is good for wall bounces. Don't forget that it does bounce off, deal damage with bouncing off the floor, so Jake does have that skateboard infinite combo, you feel me? Harley Quinn has one, Bugs has one, you know. So if you're doing that, it is going to stack up, especially, you know, you do 2 combos really quickly back to back, and let's say you bounce them off the ground 5 to 6 times, that's an extra 10 to 12 damage. So it is good sometimes, but I don't recommend it for most characters. That's not all, folks. That's not all, folks. Man, people, I don't think, are really getting wind of this. Or I think there's just so many other perks that just do so much that this one is not getting as much love as it should. And remember, this perk is one of those perks that I feel like if you're playing in doubles is why it's really good, especially if you guys can chase both of you. It gives you guys the ability to both aggressively chase somebody off the side of the map and platform really, really aggressively, down really low, and feel completely safe by it, knowing that you have That's All Folks to push you guys back. And it works so well. It gives you that extra oomph. It'll push you near the center of the map too, so if you're away from a wall, it's going to get you near a wall. That way you can actually recover all of your resources as well too. This move is really good. Don't sleep on it. And on the stacked, the push area is stronger and larger. Just think about that. Just try it out at least once and you'll see what's good. Painted target. Your team deals 5% increased damage with hitting enemies that are in hit stun. So right off the top of my head, you can automatically think of Superman. Superman does amazing with this ability. That extra 5% damage when your ally has it stacked, I say that's good maybe if you're rocking like a double Superman, but you got some other characters too that deal crazy hit stun. Finn has some pretty good hit stun. You got LeBron with some pretty good hit stun. Bugs has some, but not really. You know what I mean? You got to pick those characters that actually really do have good hit stun. Batman has some pretty good hit stun too. And you're going to just stack up that damage pretty quickly. But then again, you know, like I say, this is really, really good so far on Superman. There's probably going to be other characters that are coming in here that it's also going to be great with. But as of right now, he's probably the one that it's best with, I would say. Snowball effect. Like I said before, this perk is one of the other perks that I switch out with Shirt Cannon Sniper all the time, depending on if I'm playing singles or doubles and depending on who I'm fighting against. So snowball effect. These two are very similar in terms of if you're playing with a projectile character, just in the amount of damage that they deal. However, this one right here, I feel is better for doubles, just because if your ally is not using projectiles, it's going to allow you both to consistently deal 7% increased damage against the fighter with the highest damage. And to be honest, I also swap it out in solos when I know that I'm going to be fighting someone who I'm going to be scrapping with anyway, because then you'll always be dealing the 7% increased damage because they're the only other person on the team. And the way this ability and this perk works is whoever on the opposite team has been dealt the most damage to, whoever has the highest percent on their team is going to continue to get dealt more and more damage to them. And the reason why this perk is so effective as well too, especially if you stack it and get to that 15%, is because once you kill that person that has that higher percent, most of the time the other ally on their team is automatically now taking the effect of this perk. It's so good. It's so good. It's almost too good. I think everybody in every team comp, to be honest, especially if you're aggressive, should be rocking this. Even if you're not, to be honest, give it a shot. Even replace it with one perk on your team. I know some people and some teams and some team comps rather like to run triple stack perks, which is not a bad thing, but it can be better suited maybe splitting one of those stacks and considering getting snowball effect, especially if you're doing more of a defensive or utility based team comp. That way you have at least a little bit more damage on your team. Make it rain, dog. Again, pretty straightforward, but the projectiles definitely need it. As you can see, I have this as well too. Again, maining Tom and Jerry. This is something that's super necessary for me, especially when you're trying to get those rocket kills or those Jerry snipes. You want to make sure that you have this on there. You got to be cheeky as hell, getting back to Jerry super quickly and shooting people off the platform. You're going to need that. A lot of people don't think that this is good or necessarily needed to have stacked. And I mostly agree with that, except I think when we think about it, you got to think of like compound percent. So 5% of a higher number is a lot bigger than 5% of a lower number. So that's what we have to remember as well too. But I think that this is a really good perk. I almost never stack it with my team and my doubles as well too. However, I always rock it with most of the characters that I play, being as most of the characters that I play all have projectiles. Wildcat Brawler, your team deals 5% increased damage with melee attacks on the ground. Pretty straightforward. If you're playing characters that are sticking to the ground, grab this here. There's a lot of characters that's going to be good with. Batman's going to be good with that. Wonder Woman's going to be good with that. Arya Stark can be good with this and the one in the air. You have a lot of characters that are good with that. Your team refreshes air specials after ringing out an enemy. A lot of people like this one, and to be honest, it goes really well with triple jump, but we'll get to that in a bit as well too. It goes really well with triple jump. Second wind beneath your wings refreshes your air special attacks after ringing out an enemy. Make sure you get this, especially if you're somebody that likes to use your air specials to ring people out, i.e. Batman, who needs to use his up special just to ring people out with his uppercut. You have a ton of people, to be honest, that all utilize their specials in order to knock somebody out. But if that's you, make sure that you get this as well too. I honestly might consider it every now and then just to recover Jerry. Up in a sleigh. Your team deals 5% increased damage with attacks that knock back enemies upward. Say less. This move and perk is amazing, especially for your Harleys, your Bugses, your Finns. You got a few people that this is just phenomenal with, and you're gonna want to get this with them no matter what. If you have a great up smash, grab up in a sleigh, especially if you're an aggressive type, or if you're one of those types in doubles that likes to sit back and wait until you can get a nice up smash. Make sure you grab this. This is basically the same exact thing except horizontally. So you're going to be using the same thing except horizontally. If you're someone that likes to knock people back horizontally, make sure that you grab this. I would say, you got your Superman, you got your Batman too. Well, he's actually on both of these. You got your Finns, you know what I mean? You have a lot of characters that like to hit people back horizontally, and if that's you, make sure you grab this. Ice to beat you. Now, I love this perk, to be honest. I mostly grab it with Batman, and grabbing it with LeBron is also not bad. To be honest, the next three are the full Avatar Elemental build. I like messing with this. It's what I grab when I play Batman sometimes, just because it's so fun and super cheeky. It's not the best build to have, but it's just fun to do. And when you pull off getting all 3 debuffs on somebody, it makes you feel super cool. But this, Ice to beat you. Why not have extra slow on the enemy team, especially for somebody with projectiles at all times? Why not? Especially if you're playing somebody like Batman or LeBron, who literally is going to be constantly throwing the projectile at up close range against somebody, then you're going to want to do that. Hey, shout out to my boy Kyle giving me the invite right now. I'm gonna hop on with you, Kyle, right after this video. But if you're going to be doing that, man, you're going to want to make sure that you guys double stack this if you have a double projectile team. 2 stacks of this perk is insane. I don't think people understand that. This Ice to beat you perk actually compounds and it's slow as you stack it on a character. So make sure that you guys grab this and get it double stacked if you are indeed playing with 2 ranged characters. It is so good. Okay. I'm letting Kyle know I'm making a video on the perks real quick. That's flammable, Doc. Amazing. Just in the name, you already know that this ability in this perk is great with bugs. But to be honest, it's great with anybody that's going to be using projectiles up close. So if you're going to be using projectiles up close, grab this. And I think people are underestimating what this also means for some other characters like Taz. Make sure you're reading what your abilities are in name. Like Taz's dog pile is actually a projectile. A lot of people don't know that, but in the description it's labeled as a projectile. So all of these perks here that actually deal things with projectiles actually affect Taz's perk. Or Taz's ability. All these perks affect Taz's ability, which is really cool. So think about that when you're doing that, because these things on Taz, or someone who's staying on the ground a lot like Taz, is amazing to have that Imagine hitting someone with a nice little combo, going into a dog pile and automatically applying shock to them. So great. Back to ignite and shock are very similar. For 3 seconds after knocking back an enemy with a projectile, your team can then melee attack an enemy and ignite them for 1 second. With Taz, like I said again, this is amazing. With Batman, this is amazing. Harley Quinn, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. To be honest, anyone with a projectile, this is an amazing perk, especially because it gives you 3 seconds to hit them. That's a long time. And you can ignite the enemy for 2 seconds if your ally has this perk, and that's amazing too. When you have other characters that can use their perk abilities so quickly and up close, like a Batman, who can then pick up his batarang and throw it again really quickly and reapply this perk, then that 1 second doesn't seem like just 1 second. And you're going to constantly have this perk on them. So don't let that 1 second scare you. It's actually, it can be infinite if you're really good with it. And if you're playing doubles, one of the people on the opposite team probably almost always has one of these perks on if you guys are utilizing them. Static electricity. After allies move on the ground for 4 seconds, the next projectile applies shock to enemies leaving the ground, restarts the timer. By the way, let me know if you guys want me to make a video as well on the things like ignited and shocked and all the other debuffs and buffs that are in the game. Let me know. I'll make a video on that as well too, just so we have a strong foot forward heading into all of these seasons with this new amazing platform fighter. So, static electricity. Another one I think is not a bad perk, but it's just a really cheeky one. 4 seconds is kind of a long time. Most of the time we're dodging, jumping, moving so much that you probably aren't staying on the ground for that long unless you are someone like a Taz or a Tom and Jerry, or maybe a Batman, or maybe, you know, a Jake, and maybe not even him. You know, it really just depends on how your play style is. But if you can play around having this perk, and remember that you do have this perk, man, can you pull off some crazy things. So like I said, I do this thing where I do elemental Batman, and with this one, all you have to do is knock an enemy back with a projectile. So as soon as you hit a person with the batarang, they're getting slowed. This one, you just have to hit them afterwards. So as soon as you hit them, they're going to be ignited. This one, you just have to wait 4 seconds before you throw it, and your next projectile gives shock to them. So in solos, amazing, and duos, also amazing. Your ally can help you make sure that these stay on the enemy as well too, and help you get on them and make sure that you can stack that slow and make sure you can get the ignite off if you're far away. This is so good, especially in duos, because it deals extra damage to the allies. Shocked deals damage slowly to the person that gets shocked, and it also deals damage to the people around shocked. So it also can be a great perk to have if you're playing free for all as well too. And I know you probably weren't expecting a tip for free for all, but there you go. Hit them while they're down. Your team deals 5% increased damage hitting debuffed enemies. Like I said, let me know if you guys want me to make a video going over the buffs and debuffs again. If someone on your team is going elemental or has one of these, or is someone like a Batman or Bugs or Tom and Jerry, or someone that can keep people weakened, or like a Velma, someone that can keep people in a state of some sort, go ahead and grab this. Hit them while they're down is going to be a great perk to have. And if you have two people that are going to be keeping people debuffed, grab it again and stack it. I'll take that. Your team receives 0.5% refund on ability cooldowns after hitting debuffed enemies. Now, to be honest, I did go debuff Batman one time too, and it was pretty nice. I'm not going to lie, it's really good. I say this perk is not that bad. It's better when you have an ally that's also debuffing enemies and you can grab it with both of you as well. That 1 second is amazing, because most cooldowns with the characters that actually apply debuffs like that, the cooldowns aren't crazy long. So this is super useful, especially if you end up missing your batarang. I know I'm giving a lot of Batman tips, but that's someone who I play with, so the analogies are a little bit easier for me to make. So let's say like you miss your batarang when you're picking it back up. That 0.5 second of you hitting them after hitting them with that batarang, because the batarang applies weakened, and also if you have one of these on, you're going to be debuffing them even further. You're going to be dealing a lot of more damage to them if you have this, and you're going to be getting a lot of your cooldowns back a lot faster as well too. So I think this is really, really good to have. It's also great for his bomb. Slippery when faint. What a freaking great name. Your team receives 10% increased dodge distance when dodging out of an attack cancel. Now, understand you're dodging out of an attack hit cancel, not when you dodge out of getting hit by an attack. So it's like when you're dodging out of attack hit cancel, that means when you go to attack and you dodge, okay? So make sure that you remember that that's what that means. This also is amazing stat. This is such... See, when it says feint, remember what a feint is? A feint is like somebody pretending to swing at you. That's like me about to swing at my arm at you, like halfway, like, and trying to make you flinch, right? It's like a feint, you know? That's what this perk is good for. It's good for being super cheeky, setting up combos from far away. You can do a move and make someone think you're coming in with something, completely dodge cancel and do a completely different move and start it from so far away because you have that extra increased dodge distance. It's an amazing perk to have. I think it's completely slept on. If you're playing anybody that likes to do combos starting on the ground especially, make sure you have this. And the distance also goes for in the air. Don't forget about that. Your team's fully charged attacks break armor. Pretty self-explanatory, but if you don't know what that means, armor is when characters have an extra buff on them. That means you have to hit them an extra time in order to deal damage and knockback to them. So in order to stop that, Armor Crush is a great perk to have. It allows you to basically hit through armor and deal damage and knockback straight directly to them using any of your moves and abilities that have a charge to them. So think any of your characters that have an ability that you can hold the button down with. This is great to have. And to be honest, stacking this when you're going against a Superman or a Wonder Woman or Iron Giant or LeBron, stacking this when you have any of those characters who have crazy armor is great, because 75%, that 25% difference goes a long way. And being able to get your move off in the air when somebody's jumping back, especially with how fast this game is ideal. So you'll want to have to grab this. To be honest, I almost grab it almost every time, especially if my ally doesn't grab it. If we're playing doubles, I'll sacrifice one of my perks, usually the damage perk, Deadeye Sniper or Snowball Effect. I'll usually separate or sacrifice one of those two for this one, just to make sure we have something to break some armor if we're going against a Superman or a Wonder Woman, especially those two. Finally made it down to the defense, guys. We're like halfway through. Tune Elasticity. Your team receives a 20% cooldown reduction, 20% reduction, excuse me, to ground and wall bounce velocity. This is amazing, especially if you're gonna end up on a map that has a lot of walls. Again, Haunted Mansion, you know, you got Batman spot, you got the Rick and Morty place, right? This is going to help you really stop from flying everywhere. You feel me? Like, it's going to be amazing, especially if you pair this up with Tasmanian trigonometry. This is a great perk to have. It's going to allow you to really keep control of yourself. And if you get that perk that allows you to fall down to the ground faster with your down cancel, then you're going to basically be extremely hard to kill. I recommend this for assassins, especially if you're playing on a map that, again, like Haunted Mansion, has a lot of enclosed spaces and walls or low ceilings. Stronger than ever, your team receives armor for 5 seconds after respawning. If you're playing against an oppressive team, or against assassins, or against people who can do cheeky things like me, like Tom and Jerry, and put up traps right when you spawn, then make sure that you get this. It's going to help you survive a little bit longer, especially while you're learning or starting out in the game. I really recommend this, and in free-for-all, I recommend this. Duos, it's really great too. That way you don't have to try and protect your teammate right away. You'll know they'll have that armor for 5 seconds after they're spawning. And you also, it gives you an ability to do something different after spawn instead of just dodging and jumping right away, which I know right now is the norm in the meta. But this will allow us and everybody to do something a little bit different. And to be honest, I use it to be a little bit cheeky when I'm playing characters like Wonder Woman. I'll use this perk and I'll basically allow this to give me even a longer amount of time to have armor with abilities like her down special, which gives armor to her and her allies. What a great perk to have, especially, like I said, again, against oppressive teams. Slippery Customer. Your team receives 10% longer dodge and vulnerability window. This ability and perk is great, again, especially paired up with Slippery when faint. Slippery Customer, Slippery when faint. They both have Slippery in the name. Makes sense why they'd be great together, right? Extra increased dodge distance when a longer dodge and vulnerability window. This means you're going to be invulnerable longer while you can dodge a greater distance, allowing you to set up those combos from far away, especially if you're playing characters like Harley Quinn or Batman or Arya Stark or Jake or even LeBron. And some of those characters are I said Batman. Some of those characters who want to get in close and really start with a dodge, you're going to want to pick up one of these, if not both of these, if that's your playstyle. Kryptonian Skin. Your team receives 4% reduced incoming damage. There's some characters that this is really great for, i.e. Wonder Woman, Superman, Cheeky Iron Giant, most of your tanks, to be honest. Those who you're going to be sitting in there tanking a bunch of damage with, go ahead and grab this. And to be honest, my build with the Wonder Woman is this, and the armor one, like I said, just to make sure my team is staying alive as long as possible, especially right after death. And those paired up together, I'll go over in a second, is amazing. This is pretty straightforward. You just receive less damage overall. Boom. But this right here, you receive even more less damage. You receive even less damage when you're in your team and your ally are together. So this is why this is so amazing with Wonder Woman. People who are going to be sticking next to your allies like Velcro. Back-to-back fighting as it shows and displays in the picture of the perk. Make sure you guys grab this. I grab it. I feel like it's a necessity every time. And on smaller maps, if you're playing on that map like the one that has the 2 platforms, grab this perk. This perk is amazing, especially if you know you're going to be sticking together and fighting together. Grab this perk. Your team receives Boundless Energy. Your team receives 10% faster dodge and vulnerability recharge. Again, another one that's great when Slippery, when faint, and Slippery Customer. Go ahead and grab this if that is your playstyle and you know you're someone who spams that dodge button so much that you need that meter to refill just so you can get back to doing what you do best. Make sure you grab this. And if your combos start with dodges, because I know some people need combo or dodging in your combos in order to continue to the next hit, then go ahead and grab that for that as well too. That way, you know, once you're done with your set, you can reset a little bit faster. Clear the air. Your team destroys enemy projectiles after successfully neutral dodging the projectile. Okay, this is one of those perks that has a little bit more nuance to it again. Most of these perks have been pretty straightforward. This is one of those that is not. Clear the air is amazing for people who hate going against Velma, Rain Dog, Tom and Jerry, Taz, Batman, LeBron, all of the projectile mains, especially ones like, you ever wondered how to get rid of Rain Dog's laser that just keeps destroying you? Get Clear the Air. You ever wondered how to destroy Velma's cards? Get Clear the Air. You ever wondered how to destroy Jerry instead of getting blasted and sniped from halfway across the map? Get Clear the Air. This is the reason why Player First Games added a neutral dodge button and attack and special attack, but a neutral dodge button and key that you can have, because neutral dodging is important in this game. And I know most of us don't neutral dodge. We dodge in a direction. Neutral dodging probably hardly happens unless you're used to playing Smash and down dodging. Then some of us might be neutral dodging or down dodging by default, which I don't know if down dodging in this game is a neutral dodge. But I know a lot of us that come from Smash were probably doing that. But this is your anti-projectile team for those that are super oppressive from long range with projectiles that are persistent in how they act. make sure you grab this. I cannot stress it enough. Again, if you hate going against Velma, Rain Dog, Tom and Jerry, hell, even LeBron or Batman, like I said, go ahead and grab this. Sturdy Dodger. Your team receives armor for 1 second after successfully neutral dodging a projectile. It's almost like they were made to be together. As you can see too, look, you see how they put the shield over here and then this one's shooting through this way? They're so clever, man, with the way they design a lot of this stuff, man. They're showing you what works together, yo. So, Sturdy Dodger, man. Your team receives armor for 1 second after successfully neutral dodging a projectile. What this allows you to do, what this is basically saying is, which honestly, go ahead and stack both these if you're playing against the Velma, and you're going in on duos. But what this is saying is, hey, you successfully neutral dodged and destroyed that projectile. You're probably about to rush in right now. Here's a little bit of armor to allow you to do that. It gives you armor for a second just so you can actually make it in to do that combo like you're looking to do, and they can't get off another cheeky attack or movement on you when they just successfully neutral dodge something, you know. It allows you to feel that bit of success before Velma eventually goes back to destroying your face. So absorb and go. Your team receives 7% ability cooldown refund after being knocked back by a projectile. Again, if you hate going against Velma, LeBron, Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, Batman, get absorb and go. You're going to like it a lot. I swap out Stronger Than Ever for absorbing go all the time when I'm playing as Wonder Woman. If the other team isn't really someone that's going to be as oppressive, and I know they're going to be throwing projectiles from afar and probably not hitting us as much right away, because this right here, getting that ability cooldown refund, is more important to me when I'm going to be someone that's going to be needing to use my specials to get in close and or allow my team to survive. So this is a great thing to have, and to be honest, you'd be surprised, especially when you're playing the full cooldown CDR build, which we'll get to in a second. This is really good to have, and you'll be surprised on how fast you get your abilities back. I love doing it when I have bugs and going full CDR, and grabbing this as well too when I'm going against someone with projectiles. But really, really good. School Me Once. Your team receives a projectile block buff for 2 seconds after being knocked back by a projectile. Now, to be honest, you can't have 4 perks, but all 4 of these are very great to have together. But these 2 right here, very good, very, very good to have, because on these 2, it's saying, hey, you're dodging them. You're not going to get hit by the projectiles. And these 2 is saying, hey, you're having a really tough time dodging these. You're getting smacked around by these projectiles. Grab these. So School Me Once. Your team receives projectile block buff for 2 seconds after being knocked back by a projectile. Again, this is saying, hey, you got hit by that projectile. You're probably looking to get back in there and continue fighting. Let us help you with that. That's basically what that's saying. If you hate going against, again, those characters who I named, grab this perk. And again, if it fits your playstyle, all of these things are very relative as well to not only the character that you play, but your playstyle as well. Keep all of that in mind. And even furthermore, on top of all of that, this is still just my opinion from somebody who's played Smash Bros. Since 64, and since I was about 6 years old. I've been playing Super Smash Brothers, and I'm 30 now. So trust me, I have a lot of experience with platform fighters under my belt. From that to freaking Brawlhalla, to the Nickelodeon Brawl Stars, to PlayStation All-Star Fighters, to more and more and more. So I love platform fighters, and I really love this game. Multiversus is amazing. But then again, like I said, this is still just all my opinions, and for me putting a ton of hours in this game already, hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game already. So let's continue. We're finally down to utility, probably the most useful and versatile selection that we actually have out of this entire perk system. Now, Tasmanian trigonometry, amazing. We debate having this on probably almost every perk comp we run when we're playing duos, just because it's that useful in terms of staying alive. And right now the meta is so much within a side and up smash that like you kind of need to have this in order to make sure that you're not getting side smashed off the map or getting cheeked off the map when you definitely could have survived something, especially if you're playing lighter characters. Man, I mean, even heavier characters get even cheekier, you know. Like, this is such a great perk to have. And what it does is what it means is whenever you get knocked away, you have that much more control getting back to the map. You feel me? You'll be surprised at how much more control you have in the air of your character. In a single bound, your team receives 10% increased jump speed. This is so good for your Arya Starks, your Batmans, your Jakes, your people who need to jump really quick, get in those jump combos. Man, your Harley Quinns, make sure you grab this. This is such a good perk to have if that fits your playstyle again. But for a lot of these characters, this really does fit his playstyle. Like I said, utility has some of the most versatile and useful perks in the entire game. There's something for almost everybody here. Leg Day Champ. Your team receives 10% increased jump height. Goes very well with these. Look at the way that the perk pictures look. Like I said, they're helping you see what works together. This one here, giving you that increased jump height, is amazing. Go into a lab, you know, or go into a match, you know, I recommend a lab, and just up smash with some of your characters and or hit in your combo and see how high at different percents the opponent flies. If you are finding that you need to jump more often than not to do your second and third combos, or even halfway through your first combo, go ahead and grab this, because that means that they're going to start getting knocked back further and further away by the time you get to your third and fourth combo, and you're not going to be able to continue your combos anymore because they're going to be flying so far and fast away from you. That's why these are very useful. It's for chasing people down. Gravity manipulation. Your team receives 10% increased fast fall speed. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Grabbing this, especially paired up with Tasmanian trigonometry, this is amazing to have, as well as grabbing it with this as well too. So Tasmanian trigonometry and that tune elasticity and the gravity manipulation allows you to basically just like shoot back to the map, shoot back down to the map, especially if you have fast reflexes. And if you stack this up, 20% is insane. It's insane. Like they might even nerf it down to 5%. It's insane. Like you'll find it hard to kill assassins at 180% damage. I'm not even kidding. Hit me if you're able. Your team receives 5% increased dodge speed. Again, great with these perks up here. Great with this perk up here. Slippery when faint, slippery customer, clear the air, sturdy dodger. All of these things go great together. Your team, if this fits your playstyle, and like I said, if you dodge a lot, or if you need to dodge to continue, extend, or start combos, grab that, because that's going to be useful for you and your character, especially with assassins or people who like to run around and find their footing, so to speak, before they actually start and jump into attacking their opponent. Last stand. Your team deals 10% increased damage after reaching 100 damage. Amazing. So good if you're running tanks or bruisers or double tanks and extremely heavy characters who you know you're just going to be brawling with for a while. If you're going bruiser versus bruiser, tank versus tank, grab this and your opponent will be a little bit surprised at how much more damage you're doing to them as you guys rise into the higher percents. And 10% or 10 damage earlier is actually great. If you guys are running double, like there's a really cheeky comp of Superman and Wonder Woman, which I don't know how many people are playing, or LeBron and Wonder Woman as well too. If you guys do that comp, go ahead and grab this, because you can make your team, allow your team to survive much higher than 100%, and you'll be dealing so much damage to them, and after getting a kill on them and still being over 100%, you'll be dealing even more damage to them right when they come back into the match again. And it's an amazing perk to have, again, if it fits your character and the playstyle for that. Excuse me. The purest of motivations. Your team deals 15% increased damage for 10 seconds after an ally is wrung out. I don't really recommend this one because I'm not really trying to get wrung out, you feel me? But because we're giving, you know, advice for each of these perks, this perk I would say if you're going to use it in a fit your playstyle, and if you are getting run out, and or if you feel like you're in a really close matchup, you feel me, and let's say you're in a 1-to-1, the match has been close each time so far, and it's been neck and neck each game. Go ahead and grab this, because if it comes down to that last life and you get 15% increased damage for 10 seconds in a 1-to-1 and it's 3 stocked each, it's going to be up for them. You feel me? Like, you're going to have so much more damage to them. And this is amazing to have too if you're pairing it up with Stronger Than Ever. Get double stack Stronger Than Ever and get double stack Purest of Motivations, and they're going to be so annoyed at how strong that character who they just killed comes back in, as they have 7 seconds of armor and 15 seconds of 15% increased damage. Just think about that. That's crazy. Fancy footwork. You get 5% increased dodge distance. This is amazing for these 2 perks right here, and even more amazing when paired up with this, because this is just overall dodge distance. This means you're getting 15% when dodging out of attacks, which most of us do regardless. So double stacking this and double stacking this, you can basically see your characters, when dodging out of an attack specifically, dodge halfway across the platform. I'm not even kidding. Especially people with really good dodges, like your Bugses or your Supermans, people that can dodge really far already. Oh my gosh, they love this. It's amazing. Your Tom and Jerry love it. Amazing. It's pretty straightforward, but we forget how much, like how far 5 to 10% can actually go in terms of dodge distance, especially when you dodge back to back. Aerial Acrobat. Your team receives 10% increased air acceleration. Amazing, especially when paired up with any of these. Your Insane Bound, the jump speed one, and the jump height. These 2 specifically are what it really works good with, because you're going to be going up. But this works good with too for those characters who want to jump up and down and fast fall in combos. You're probably wondering, like, well, how is this good with this? Yeah, but characters really want to fast fall in combos, especially like your Harley Quinns, your Bugs Bunnies, your Jakes, who want to hit down and fast fall as they hit in order to extend your combo. This is good with that, because it allows you to go up and down extremely fast. And it allows you to get and chase people as well. Again, if you're hitting people in higher percentage and you're an assassin, and you need to chase them down, go ahead and grab this, because it's going to allow you to stick to them like Velcro. Triple jump, as you can see, I run it on Bugs. I love having triple jump. It basically just gives you an extra jump while hitting an enemy in the air. This is also really greatly paired up with this ability right here, Second Wind beneath your wings, excuse me. Your team refreshes air special attacks after bringing out an enemy. So you'll not only get a special back if you can kill them with that, you'll get a jump back after hitting them when you get them out, you know. So like I said, when you're playing characters like Batman, when your up special is the way that you're going to be primarily killing someone, then yeah, you're going to want to grab that. Because it's going to now allow you to not only get that jump back, but it's going to allow you to also, and or Jake, you feel me? It's going to allow you to get that special back too. It's a pretty cheeky thing to have. Right now, I know it's pretty strongly in the meta, but it's a great. CoffeeZilla. This is an additional perk that I like to have when running my cooldown reduction stack with Bugs. This is an amazing perk. 10% ability cooldown reduction. I almost run it mandatory on Wonder Woman sometimes as well too, depending on who I'm going against, especially if going against another Wonder Woman, because I want to be able to keep my team secure many more times than they can keep their team secure. So normally in mirror matchups, I almost always go for either straight damage or I go for straight cooldown reduction, because I want to be much further than them in one of those aspects. So CoffeeZilla, great to have. 15% cooldown reduction is insane, but I love it. It's just not one that I would say you need to have stacked, but when you do stack it, boy, do you see the difference. I almost run it almost all the time on Bugs as well too, but you'll see why I don't run it on Bugs. I switch it out depending on what I'm playing against and who I'm playing against, because of a perk that we'll come to in just a second, which is this one here. Speed Force Assist. Your team receives 4% increased base movement speed. I just started messing around with this perk, and to be honest, I like it a lot. I really do. I think it's great. The increased movement speed, especially if you're on the ground, you got to think about it. It's movement speed, and it works for abilities that also count for movement, like Taz's Tornado. So it's going to allow you to move across the platform faster regardless of what you're doing, if you are utilizing movement in some form or fashion. And man, is 8% insane. You can turn Finn and Harley and Bugs and Arya Stark into some of the craziest characters in the game by applying some of these things like fast fall speed, jump speed, and speed force, and just turning your character into basically Fox from Super Smash Bros, which is, if you don't know, just an insanely fast character who has insanely fast fall speed, jump speed, and run speed. So it's a crazy perk to have. I say try it out if it fits your playstyle, if you are someone who stays on the ground and runs a lot. And if you're playing on maps with platforms that are extremely long, then go ahead and grab this as well too. It'll make the running seem a little less tedious. I dodge, you dodge, we dodge. One of my favorite perks in the entire game. And especially when I'm playing Bugs Bunny, who I haven't really played in forever, to be honest. So I don't know if this perk is my favorite anymore, because I don't use it as much because I've been playing so much Tom and Jerry. But I dodge, you dodge, we dodge gives you 10% ability cooldown refund after dodging an attack. So this gives you 10% reduced ability cooldown reduction all the time, but this gives you it after dodging an attack. This is so much stronger than this, and I implore you, if you're considering grabbing CoffeeZilla, to grab I dodge, you dodge, we dodge, and test them out back and forth and just see how much faster you get your cooldowns back with I dodge, you dodge, we dodge. Especially if you're playing free for all or duos, or to be honest, any of the modes, because dodging is so pivotal in this game. It's so necessary. You're going to be doing it all the time that your cooldowns are going to come back ridiculous. And if you're playing somebody like Bugs, someone that has a character that has a ton of cooldowns, this is going to be amazing for you. And again, like I said, there's a cooldown perk stack that I like to run, which is I dodge, especially on Bugs, which is I dodge, you dodge, we dodge, CoffeeZilla for that extra %. And then I either go with Absorbing Go, which gives 7% after refunding a projectile, or I'll go with I'll take that, which gives you the cooldown reduction after being debuffed. And there's a couple other things you can do with this too, but I usually go with one of those two here. Not that, but I usually go with one of those there too, just because fully stacked cooldown reduction is insane on some of those characters, especially characters as cheeky as Bugs, who have huge projectiles that have cooldowns. It just allows you to do things that you normally couldn't do, like summoning way more rockets, which wasn't intended in the game. And after they patched and try to fix that, this is the best way to be that cheeky, where you can have more rockets in the air than your enemy team is expecting. And lastly, guys, which used to be my favorite perk when it used to give 3 gray health, which is now my least favorite perk because of the nerf, is Retaliation Ready. Your team grants allies 1 gray health for 3 seconds after knocking back enemies with a projectile. Not bad, not bad. I like that they changed it to where you grant all allies 1 gray health and not you grant your ally gray health, which I think might have been a change to where maybe you can grant yourself gray health with it now too if you're playing in solos, because I don't think you can. But unless you're stacking this with 2 gray health, it's not that worth it. And to be honest, I don't think it's worth it anymore at all without the 3 gray health stack. They nerfed it to try to nerf Velma and like Rain Dog and Iron Giant, sorry. But really they nerfed other characters too, like Batman and LeBron and Tom and Jerry and Bugs when they did this as well, and I don't like it. because we ran it on our stack almost all the time, and I changed up my entire perk stack because of the nerf on this perk. So I don't recommend it, but you know, I did still try it, and I did still like having the single stack there. Having great health at all is nice. It's just that one is just not that, it's not that useful. But if you are playing somebody like Velma, or somebody like Rain Dog, or somebody like Tom and Jerry, who can knock back people, or Batman constantly, it is somewhat useful to have, because you can end up blocking way more health than you think, if you do keep them with one great health stack. But that is all of the perks, guys. Can't believe we made it through. What a freaking treat it has been to go over all of these with you guys. Like I said, let me know if you guys want me. Let's bring the music back in. If you guys want me to make a video going over all of the buffs and debuffs, I definitely can and definitely will. And I look forward to doing it, man. But for now, I'm gonna just leave this here with you guys. Again, my name has been Fade Green. Be sure to follow me on YouTube at Fade Green and Pure Art ENT, and on TikTok, make sure to follow us at FKO_plays, where you can get more Multiversus news and upcoming tips and tricks and just funny moments coming to you guys, man. We look forward to playing it. I'm probably going to get back into it here, hop into that invite that I was sent way at the beginning of this video with Kyle, and keep leveling up this Tom and Jerry, man. Much love to you guys. Hope you guys have a great freaking day. And yeah, yo, take care.